Have you ever looked at yourself in the mirror and felt that something was missing? You wake up, you go through the day, you smile when people expect it, but deep inside you feel a small voice asking, "Is this really who I am? Is this really the best I can be?" That quiet question sits in your heart, and it doesn't go away. You may feel stuck, tired, or even lost. You want to grow, but sometimes fear pulls you back. You want to shine, but doubt whispers that you are not enough. And so you wonder, how can I truly become my best self? I know that struggle. I know the feeling of wanting more from life, but not knowing how to start. Sometimes you try, and then you fall. Sometimes you promise yourself change, but old habits return. It is painful, because deep down you know that you were made for more than just surviving. You were made to live fully, to love deeply, to rise higher. But the question is, how? That is why this video exists. Together, step by step, we will walk through the journey of becoming your best self. It is not about being perfect. It is not about comparing with others. It is about discovering the power already inside you and learning how to bring it out every single day. Comment if you've ever felt this way. Stay with me until the end, because in this journey you will not only find motivation, you will find a map. You will learn how to face fear, how to build habits, how to grow stronger in mind and heart. By the end, you will see yourself in a new light. And maybe, just maybe, you will look in the mirror again and finally say, "Yes, this is me. This is my best self." Chapter 1. The journey to become your best self always starts with one simple but powerful moment: awareness. You cannot change what you cannot see. For years, I lived in a cycle of routine. I woke up, did what was expected, followed the same path every day. On the outside, nothing looked wrong. People around me thought I was doing fine. But inside, I felt like a passenger in my own life. I was not driving, I was being carried. And when you are carried, you do not choose where you go. You end up where life throws you. Maybe you feel the same way. You follow the rules, you meet responsibilities, you do your duties. But there is a hidden voice inside you that says, "This is not all. There is more in me. There is more I can be." That voice is not weakness. That voice is the seed of your best self. And the first step is to listen to it. Many people ignore it, because listening to it means facing the truth that they are not living fully yet. It is easier to silence the voice than to change your life. But if you want to become your best self, you must do the brave thing. You must listen. I remember a night when I sat alone in my room. The lights were off, my phone was quiet, and the day had left me tired. I looked at the ceiling and asked myself, am I really alive, or am I just existing? That question hit me like a storm. For the first time, I realized that my life was not just about surviving another day. It was about becoming someone who could inspire, someone who could rise, someone who could create meaning. That awareness shook me awake. It did not fix everything in one night, but it started the journey. Becoming your best self does not start with a book, a course, or a plan. It starts with honesty. Ask yourself now, right in this moment, am I proud of the way I am living? Am I showing the world my true potential? Or am I hiding, waiting, wasting time? These questions are not meant to hurt you. They are meant to wake you. Because your best self is not a dream. It is already inside you. But until you recognize what is missing, you cannot unlock it. Here is the truth: most people are not afraid of failure. They are afraid of seeing who they really are. They are afraid of admitting that they are stronger, wiser, braver than they act. Because when you admit that, you have no excuse. You must rise. And rising takes courage. But awareness gives you that courage. When you see clearly, you cannot go back to sleep. Let me tell you something powerful. Your best self is not a version of you that lives far away in the future. It is a part of you that wants to live now. Every time you choose honesty over denial, you meet your best self. Every time you admit your weakness and still take a step forward, you meet your best self. Every time you face the mirror and say, "I can do more," you are already closer to becoming that person. Awareness is not easy. It may make you cry. It may make you angry. It may make you feel small. But these feelings are the signs that your soul is awake. And once it is awake, you cannot put it back to sleep. The people who live with no awareness, who never ask, "Why am I here?" They may look comfortable, but deep inside, they are lost. The people who dare to ask, who dare to face the mirror, they are the ones who grow. So today, I invite you to sit with yourself. Take 5 minutes in silence. Ask yourself the same question I once asked: am I alive, or just existing? Do not run away from the answer. Let it guide you. Let it move you. Because this is how the journey begins. Not with a big step, not with a loud promise, but with a quiet moment of truth. And here is your first retention spike, something I want you to hold tightly in your heart. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You only need to be honest. The mirror may show you someone ordinary today, but the truth is extraordinary. You are standing at the doorway of your best self. All you have to do is walk through. Chapter 2. After awareness comes the next step, making a choice. Awareness wakes you up, but choice moves you forward. Many people realize they are not living as their best self, but then they do nothing about it. They wait for the perfect moment. They wait for the right mood, the right support, the right time. And so years pass, and nothing changes. The truth is simple. Your best self will not arrive by accident. It comes when you choose it, again and again, every day. I remember when I first made that choice. It was not dramatic. There was no music, no spotlight. It was just me, tired of the same old days. I told myself, I cannot continue like this. I will not accept less than I can be. That small decision was like lighting a match in the dark. Suddenly, I had a spark of hope. It was not the whole fire yet, but it was enough to show me the way forward. Maybe you feel this too. You know there is more in you, but you hesitate. You wait for tomorrow, or next week, or next year. But let me tell you something surprising. The perfect time does not exist. Your best self does not live in some future date. It lives in your choice right now. Every day you say yes to growth, you step into that self. Every day you say no, you stay where you are. Life is not waiting. It is moving. And if you do not choose, you are still choosing, but choosing to stay the same. Here is a powerful truth. Choice is not about doing everything at once. It is not about changing your whole life in a single day. Choice is about direction. Imagine standing at a crossroad. One road is familiar, comfortable, but it leads nowhere new. The other road is uncertain, maybe even scary, but it leads to growth. Your best self is down that second road, and the only way to reach it is to take the first step, even if your legs shake. I want you to feel this. Becoming your best self is not about speed. It is about commitment. If you take one small step every day, you will go farther than the person who waits for the big perfect leap but never jumps. So do not underestimate your choices. Choosing to read one page, choosing to practice one word, choosing to say one kind thing. These small choices shape the person you become. There is a story I love. A farmer once planted 2 seeds. One he watered every day. The other he ignored, waiting for rain. The first seed grew slowly but steadily into a strong tree. The second seed never broke the ground. That is exactly what happens with us. Your best self is the seed. Your daily choices are the water. Without the water, nothing grows. With it, even a tiny seed becomes a giant tree. Let me give you a retention spike here. Your future is not built in one day. It is built in your daily choices. When you understand this, life becomes powerful. Because you no longer wait for someone to save you. You realize you are the builder. You hold the bricks. You decide how strong your house will be. And every time you choose to grow, you place another brick. Do not let fear of failure stop you. Some days you will make the wrong choice. You will fall back into old habits. But remember this: falling is not failing. Failing is refusing to stand up again. Your best self does not demand perfection. It demands persistence. Every time you rise after falling, you show the world that your choice is real. So today, I want you to choose. Not tomorrow, not next week, today. Choose to believe in your best self. Choose to take one small step, no matter how small it looks. Because one step leads to two, and two leads to a journey. And in that journey, you will discover strength you never imagined. Let me leave you with this line to hold in your heart. The best version of you is waiting at the end of your choices. What you choose today decides who you become tomorrow. Chapter 3. After awareness and choice, the next step on the journey to your best self is action. Awareness shows you the truth. Choice sets your direction. But without action, nothing changes. Many people stop here. They know what they want. They even decide to go for it. But they never take the first step. Why? Because action feels heavy. Action feels scary. It demands energy. And it invites mistakes. But here is the secret. Your best self is not created in your mind. It is created in your actions. I still remember the first time I took real action toward change. I had read books. I had thought about my dreams. I had promised myself that one day, I would live differently. But nothing happened until I moved. For me it was simple. I started waking up earlier. At first it was just 15 minutes earlier than usual. That small action gave me time to breathe, to think, to write in my notebook. And slowly, that small action grew into bigger ones. It taught me something powerful. Your best self is built not by big dramatic leaps, but by small daily steps. Think of it like learning English, or any new skill. You can read about it, plan it, imagine it, but until you open your mouth and speak, until you practice, you will not grow. The same is true for life. You cannot think your way into transformation. You must act your way into it. And the beautiful thing is, action does not need to be perfect. Even clumsy action is better than no action. Maybe you are afraid. Maybe you say to yourself, "What if I fail? What if I look foolish?" Let me tell you this. Failure is not the opposite of action. Failure is part of action. Every great person you admire has failed. Not once, but many times. The only difference between them and those who stay the same is this. They kept acting. They did not stop. They let their mistakes teach them, not break them. Here is a retention spike for you. You will never think your way into becoming your best self. You must act your way there. Hold this truth close, because it will change how you see yourself. When you take action, even the smallest one, you prove to yourself that you are alive, that you are moving. And once you move, momentum carries you forward. Action is also a medicine for fear. The more you wait, the bigger fear grows in your mind. But when you act, fear shrinks. Imagine standing in front of cold water. You can think about it for hours, but the fear will not leave. The moment you jump in, you realize it was not as bad as you thought. That is the power of action. It kills the fear that thinking only feeds. But let me be honest, action is not easy. Some days you will feel lazy. Some days you will feel hopeless. You will want to wait, to hide, to postpone. In those moments, remember this. The first step is always the hardest. But after the first, the second becomes easier. It is like pushing a heavy door. At first it feels impossible. But once it starts to move, the weight becomes lighter. That is how habits are built, one push at a time, until the door stays open. So what action can you take today? It does not need to be huge. Maybe you write one page of your journal. Maybe you speak one sentence in English. Maybe you drink water instead of soda. Maybe you call someone you love and tell them how much they mean to you. These may look small, but together they create the person you become. And here is another powerful truth. Action gives you proof. Thinking gives you hope, but action gives you evidence. When you act, you see results, even if they are tiny. And those results build your confidence. That confidence then fuels more action, and the cycle grows stronger. That is how you rise, step by step, into your best self. Let me leave you with this line to carry in your heart. Dreams remain shadows until action gives them light. So take a step today, however small. Your best self is not waiting in the distance. It is waiting at the edge of your next action. Chapter 4. When you begin to take action, something surprising happens. You meet resistance, not only from the world, but also from inside yourself. You decide to wake up early, and your body begs you to sleep. You choose to eat healthy, and your cravings scream louder than ever. You plan to practice, but your mind whispers, not today, maybe tomorrow. This is the wall everyone faces. And this is why so many people quit before they reach their best self. They think resistance means they are weak. But the truth is different. Resistance is proof that you are growing. I remember when I first started to change my habits. The first 3 days felt exciting. I was full of energy. I thought, this is easy. I can do this forever. But by the 4th day, it became hard. My old self wanted to pull me back. It told me, stay comfortable. You have tried enough. Why suffer? That inner voice was so strong that I almost gave up. But then I realized something powerful. The stronger the resistance, the closer I was to breaking through. That struggle was not a sign of weakness. It was the birth of strength. Maybe you feel the same in your own journey. You start something new, and at first you are motivated. But then the excitement fades, and it feels heavy. You doubt yourself. You ask, why is this so hard? Let me tell you. It is hard because you are moving against your old patterns. Your brain loves comfort. It loves what is familiar. When you try to change, your brain fights back. But this fight is not your enemy. It is your training ground. Every time you push through resistance, you grow stronger, and your best self becomes more real. Here is your retention spike. Resistance is not a stop sign. It is a signal that you are on the right road. Think about that. The moment you feel the urge to quit is the exact moment you need to continue. Because on the other side of that wall is the new version of you. Most people stop digging just before they find gold. Do not be one of them. Keep digging. Let me share a simple truth. Discipline is born in resistance. Motivation is what starts you. But discipline is what carries you. And discipline is nothing more than choosing your future self over your present comfort. When you feel tired but you still show up, that is discipline. When you feel afraid, but you still take the step, that is discipline. And every time you choose discipline, you are saying to yourself, I respect who I am becoming more than I fear what I am feeling. Of course, resistance does not only come from inside. Sometimes people around you will not understand. They may laugh at your new habits. They may say, "Why are you trying so hard? You are fine as you are." And in those moments, you will feel alone. But remember this: their doubt does not define you. Their laughter is not your truth. What matters is the voice inside you that knows you can be more. Protect that voice. Let it guide you, even when others do not see the vision yet. Tomorrow. Resistance is also a teacher. It shows you where your weaknesses are. It reveals the habits that hold you back. It forces you to practice patience, perseverance, and strength. Without resistance, growth would not be real. Imagine lifting a weight at the gym. If it is too light, you gain nothing. But when it is heavy, your muscles grow. Life works the same way. The heavy moments are building your character. So, what should you do when resistance comes? Do not run. Do not hide. Face it. Break it into smaller pieces if you must. If you cannot do 1 hour, do 10 minutes. If you cannot run a mile, walk 1 step. If you cannot write a page, write 1 sentence. What matters is not how big the action is, but that you refuse to stop. That refusal builds momentum, and momentum is stronger than resistance. Let me end this chapter with a line that will carry you forward. Your best self is not built in comfort. It is born in resistance. So the next time you feel that wall, do not give up. Smile at it. It means you are exactly where you should be. Chapter 5. As you fight through resistance, another truth appears. Your best self is not built alone. Many people believe they must do everything by themselves, that asking for help is weakness. But in reality, becoming your best self is a journey made stronger with connection. Human beings are not islands. We grow through relationships, through guidance, through shared strength. You can walk the path alone, but the road is easier and brighter when you have support. I remember a time when I tried to do everything alone. I wanted to prove that I was strong, that I did not need anyone. I carried all the weight on my own shoulders. At first, it made me feel proud. But over time, I became tired, frustrated, and even hopeless. Then one day, a friend noticed. He sat with me and said, "You don't always have to carry everything yourself. Let someone walk beside you." That moment opened my eyes. It was not weakness to accept help. It was wisdom. Because when we share the journey, we share the strength. Think about the people around you. Maybe you have a friend, a teacher, a family member, or even someone you only know through books or videos. Sometimes, one kind word from them is enough to push you forward. Sometimes, one example of their courage becomes the spark for your own. That is the power of connection. We rise higher when we rise together. But let me also say this: not everyone around you will support your growth. Some people will hold you back. Some will not understand why you want to change. They may say, "Why do you try so hard? Stay the same." This is where you must make a choice. You cannot always choose who is in your family or your workplace, but you can choose whose voices you listen to. If you want to become your best self, you must surround yourself with people who believe in growth, not those who chain you to the past. Here is a retention spike for you. Show me your circle, and I will show you your future. The people closest to you shape your thoughts, your habits, your dreams. If you walk with those who complain, you will complain. If you walk with those who rise, you will rise. So look carefully at your circle. Do they water your seed, or do they crush it? Do they lift you, or do they pull you down? The answer will tell you much about your path. But what if you feel alone right now? What if you look around and no one is cheering for you? Then let me remind you of something important. You can still find connection in many ways. You can learn from mentors through their books. You can listen to voices of wisdom through videos. You can even be your own supporter, speaking kind words to yourself every day. Do not underestimate the power of your own voice. Talk to yourself as you would talk to a dear friend. Say, "I believe in you. I see your effort. Keep going." These words, spoken daily, create an inner connection that carries you forward. Another truth is that helping others also helps you. When you encourage someone else, you strengthen your own courage. When you teach someone what you have learned, your own learning grows deeper. Connection is not only about receiving, it is also about giving. And in that giving, you find meaning. Of course, relationships are not always easy. Sometimes people will hurt you. Sometimes trust will break. But even those painful moments can shape you, if you let them teach you. They can teach you about boundaries, about self-respect, about who you really want beside you. Remember, your best self is not found in pleasing everyone. It is found in walking with the right ones. So I ask you, who is in your circle? Who are the voices you allow to shape your mind? And what kind of voice are you for others? These questions matter, because your best self does not grow in isolation. It grows in the soil of connection, in the light of encouragement, in the strength of shared journeys. Let me close this chapter with a powerful reminder. Your best self is not only who you are alone, but also who you are with others. Choose wisely who you walk with. And if you have no one yet, choose to be that strong, kind voice for yourself until the right people come. Chapter 6. If you want to become your best self, you must understand the power of habits. Habits are like invisible threads. Each day, every choice you make weaves another thread into the fabric of your life. At first, you don't see much. One action seems small. One decision seems ordinary. But over time, these threads become strong ropes, pulling you either forward or backward. That is why habits matter so deeply. They are the daily steps that carry you toward your best self, or the chains that hold you in your old self. I used to think big changes required big actions. I believed I had to transform everything at once to be different. But when I tried, I failed. It was too heavy, too much at once. Then I discovered the secret. Small daily habits are more powerful than big promises. If you drink 1 glass of water every morning, your health changes. If you write 1 sentence a day, your thoughts sharpen. If you speak 1 line of English daily, your fluency grows. It may look small in the moment, but over time, these actions shape a new identity. Think about this. Brushing your teeth is a habit. You don't debate it every day. You don't ask, should I or should I not? You just do it. That is the power of habit. It saves your energy and makes growth automatic. Imagine if kindness was automatic for you. Imagine if learning daily was automatic. Imagine if discipline was automatic. That is when your best self becomes natural, not forced. But here is the challenge. Building new habits feels uncomfortable at first. Your brain resists. It says, "Why change? This is not who you are." That is why many people quit too soon. They think discomfort means they are failing. But discomfort is only the sign that you are rewiring your mind. Every day you repeat a habit, you carve a new path in your brain. The more you walk that path, the clearer it becomes, until one day it feels natural. Here is your retention spike. You do not rise to the level of your dreams. You fall to the level of your habits. Hold on to this truth. Dreams are beautiful, but habits decide if they live or die. A dream without a habit is like a seed without water. It stays buried, never growing. But the moment you water it daily with small actions, it begins to bloom. I remember when I started journaling. My dream was to understand myself better, to grow stronger in mind. But every night I was tired, and writing felt like a chore. So I made it simple. I told myself, just write one sentence. Some nights it was all I could do, but that one sentence built the habit. And slowly, one sentence grew into a paragraph, then a page, then many pages. Today, journaling feels as natural as breathing. That is the power of small habits. They grow into life-changing ones. Maybe you want to learn English. Maybe you want to be healthier. Maybe you want to be more confident. Whatever it is, start with one small daily habit. Do not try to climb the whole mountain in one day. Just take the first step and repeat it. Consistency beats intensity every time. 10 minutes daily is more powerful than 1 hour once a week. Why? Because repetition shapes identity. And your best self is built by identity, not by occasional effort. But be careful, bad habits grow the same way. Complaining daily becomes your identity. Laziness repeated daily becomes your truth. That is why you must guard your habits like treasures. Ask yourself often, are my habits pulling me closer to my best self, or pushing me further away? The answer will tell you where you are going. Here is another truth. Changing a habit does not mean you need to be perfect. If you miss a day, do not quit. Missing once is human. Quitting is the real danger. The strongest people are not those who never fall. They are those who rise again, who restart, who refuse to let one mistake erase their progress. So I invite you to choose one habit today. Just one. Something small, something simple, but something you will do every day. Water your seed. Protect it. Repeat it. And watch how, over time, it transforms not just your days, but your whole life. Let me end this chapter with a line for you to carry. Your best self is not found in one big decision, but in the small habits you repeat every day. Chapter 7. As habits begin to shape your days, you will discover something deeper. The power of mindset. Your mind is the lens through which you see the world, and it colors everything you experience. Two people can face the same challenge. One sees it as the end, the other as a beginning. One sees failure, the other sees learning. The event is the same, but the meaning is different. And meaning is what decides whether you rise or stay stuck. That is why becoming your best self requires you to build the right mindset. I used to have a mindset of fear. Every time something went wrong, I said to myself, "See, I knew I wasn't good enough." Every mistake became proof of my weakness. With that mindset, I could not grow, because I chained myself with my own thoughts. Then one day, I read a simple line. The mind is everything. What you think, you become. At first it sounded too simple, but slowly I began to see the truth. If I believed I was weak, I acted weak. If I believed I was capable, I acted strong. My actions were not just about skill, they were about mindset. Maybe you have felt the same. Maybe when you try to change, an inner voice whispers, "You can't do this. You will fail." That voice can be loud, but it is not the truth. It is only a habit of thought, and like all habits, it can be changed. Your mind is not a fixed stone. It is a garden. Whatever you plant, grows. If you plant doubt, you harvest fear. If you plant courage, you harvest strength. If you plant hope, you harvest action. The garden does not care what you plant, it will grow what you give it. So choose wisely what seeds of thought you allow inside. Here is your retention spike. Your best self is not limited by your reality. It is limited by your mindset. Think about that. Reality gives you challenges, but your mindset decides if you stop or if you climb. With the wrong mindset, even small obstacles look impossible. With the right mindset, even mountains look climbable. But how do you change your mindset? It starts with awareness of your thoughts. Listen to how you speak to yourself. Are you your own enemy or your own friend? Words matter. If you keep saying, "I can't," "I'm not good enough," "I always fail," you are programming your mind to believe it. But if you say, "I can try," "I can learn," "I can grow," your mind starts to shift. Slowly, those words become beliefs, and those beliefs shape actions. I practiced this by using affirmations. At first, it felt strange. I stood in front of the mirror and said, "I am capable. I am growing. I am stronger than my fear." My old mind laughed at me. It said, "This is silly." But I kept repeating. Day by day, the words began to sink in. They no longer felt like lies. They became truths I lived by. And soon, my actions followed. That is the power of training your mind. Another truth about mindset is this: you must see failure differently. Most people think failure is the opposite of success. But in reality, failure is the teacher of success. Every mistake carries a lesson. Every setback carries wisdom. When you change your mindset from "I failed" to "I learned," you unlock the door to growth. Your best self is not the one who never falls. It is the one who uses every fall to stand taller. Maybe right now you feel stuck. Maybe life feels heavy. But remember, the story you tell yourself matters more than the situation. If you say, "This is the end, it will be." If you say, "This is a step toward my best self," it becomes true. The world outside may not change immediately, but the world inside you can change today. And when the inside changes, the outside follows. So I ask you, what mindset are you living with right now? Is it helping you grow or holding you back? Be honest, because your mindset is the engine of your life. If it is filled with fear, you will drive in circles. If it is filled with courage, you will move forward, no matter the road. Let me end this chapter with a truth to carry in your heart. Becoming your best self begins not with a new life, but with a new mind. Change the way you think, and you change the way you live. Chapter 8. As your mindset begins to grow stronger, you will soon discover another key: the power of self-discipline. Mindset gives you belief, but discipline gives you results. Without discipline, even the strongest dream fades into nothing. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. And the truth is, no one becomes their best self without walking across that bridge. When I first tried to build discipline, I thought it meant forcing myself into a life of pain. I imagined discipline as something harsh, something cold, something that stole all joy. But over time I learned the truth. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is self-love in action. It is saying to yourself, "I deserve a better future, so I will not betray myself today." That is discipline. It is not about being strict. It is about being committed. Think of discipline as a promise you make to yourself. Every time you keep that promise, your trust in yourself grows. Every time you break it, your trust weakens. And trust in yourself is the foundation of becoming your best self. Because if you cannot rely on your own word, how can you expect to build anything lasting? Discipline protects that trust. Maybe you have felt the struggle. You start something with energy, but soon the fire fades. You tell yourself, "I'll do it tomorrow." But tomorrow becomes next week, and the habit dies. That is why discipline matters. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline stays. Motivation asks, "Do I feel like it?" Discipline answers, "I will do it anyway." And every time you act despite your feelings, you prove to yourself that your best self is in control. Here is your retention spike. Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. This line has carried me through many battles. When I want to sleep but I know I should study, I ask myself, do I want comfort now or growth later? And when I choose growth, I never regret it. Comfort fades quickly. Growth lasts forever. But let me be honest. Discipline is not easy. It will test you. You will face mornings when your body begs to stay in bed. You will face nights when your mind tells you to quit. You will feel alone while others relax. And in those moments, you may ask, why am I doing this? The answer is simple. Because you are building your best self. You are planting seeds that will bloom tomorrow, even if today feels hard. The beauty of discipline is that it multiplies. When you build discipline in one area, it spreads into others. If you learn to wake up early, soon you find it easier to exercise. If you discipline yourself to read daily, soon your focus improves at work. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. And one day, you realize you are no longer forcing yourself. You are simply living differently. I remember when I began exercising daily. At first, I hated it. My body complained, my mind resisted. But I told myself, only 10 minutes. Some days I barely managed, but I did not quit. 10 minutes became 20. 20 became 40. And slowly, exercise became part of who I was, not something I had to fight for. That is the reward of discipline. What feels impossible today becomes natural tomorrow. But do not confuse discipline with perfection. You will slip. You will miss days. You will fail sometimes, and that is okay. Discipline is not about never falling. It is about never staying down. Your best self is not perfect, it is persistent, and persistence is the child of discipline. So today, I invite you to think about one area of your life where you need more discipline. Maybe it is your study, maybe it is your health, maybe it is your emotions. Wherever it is, make a promise to yourself. Keep it small, but keep it real. And protect that promise, because every time you honor it, you are telling yourself, I can be trusted. I am becoming my best self. Let me end this chapter with a truth you can carry. Discipline is not your enemy. It is the silent hand that leads you toward the future you deserve. Chapter 9. There is a part of becoming your best self that many people forget, the power of gratitude. We often believe growth only comes from struggle, discipline, and hard work. And yes, those are important. But if you live only with pressure, without gratitude, life becomes a race that never ends. Gratitude is what gives meaning to the journey. Gratitude is what makes the climb beautiful, not just painful. I remember when I first started practicing gratitude. At the time, I was focused only on what I did not have. I thought, if only I had more money, more success, more confidence, then I would be happy. But every time I reached one goal, another desire appeared. I never felt full. Then one day someone told me, stop and count what you already have. At first I laughed. I thought it was too simple. But I tried it. I wrote down 5 things I was grateful for. My family, my health, a friend who always listened, the roof over my head, the ability to learn. As I wrote, something inside me shifted. I realized I was not empty. I was already rich in many ways. That small act changed me. It did not mean I stopped wanting to grow, but it gave me peace as I grew. Gratitude does not kill ambition, it balances it. It reminds you that even while you are reaching for more, you already have enough to smile, to breathe, to keep going. Maybe you feel stuck right now. Maybe life feels unfair. But let me give you this retention spike. Gratitude turns what you have into enough, and what you dream into possible. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to see abundance instead of lack. And what you see shapes how you live. Think about it. A person with no gratitude can live in a palace and still feel poor. A person with gratitude can live in a small room and feel rich. The difference is not in what they own, it is in what they notice. Your best self is not someone who waits for everything to be perfect before smiling. Your best self is someone who can smile even in imperfection, because they see the gift in every moment. Gratitude also builds resilience. Life will always bring storms. You will face pain, loss, and failure. But gratitude is the anchor that keeps you steady. When you lose something, gratitude reminds you of what remains. When you fall, gratitude reminds you of how far you have already come. It does not erase the pain, but it gives you strength to carry it. And that strength is what allows you to keep moving toward your best self. I once read about a man who lost almost everything: his home, his work, even his health. But when asked how he survived, he said, "Every day I found one thing to thank life for. Some days it was just the sunrise. Some days it was just the breath in my lungs. But that gratitude gave me the power to go on." His story taught me this: gratitude is not for the good days only. It is for every day. So how do you practice it? It can be as simple as writing 3 things each morning, or pausing at night and whispering thank you for one moment that made you smile. It can even be telling someone in your life, "I appreciate you." These simple acts grow roots of gratitude in your heart, and soon they become a natural way of seeing. Let me also tell you something important. Gratitude is not pretending everything is perfect. It is not ignoring your struggles. It is saying, "Yes, life is hard. Yes, I have problems. But even here, I can find something good." That attitude transforms how you experience life. Your best self is not someone who never struggles. It is someone who struggles with gratitude. Because gratitude makes you stronger, softer, and more alive. It fills your heart while you climb the mountain, so you do not miss the beauty of the view. Let me end this chapter with a line to carry in your heart. Gratitude is the light that makes the path to your best self brighter. Look around, give thanks for what is already here, and then keep walking toward what is yet to come. Chapter 10. One of the most powerful lessons on the journey to your best self is this: you must learn to face fear. Fear is one of the greatest barriers between who you are now and who you want to become. It hides in the shadows, whispering doubts, reminding you of your failures, painting pictures of what could go wrong. And if you listen too much, fear becomes the ruler of your life. But your best self cannot live under fear. It is born when you learn to step through fear. I remember when fear controlled me. I wanted to speak up, but I stayed silent. I wanted to try something new, but I held back. I wanted to show my true self, but I wore masks. Fear told me, if you try, you will fail. If you speak, people will laugh. If you move, you will fall. And because I believed it, I stayed small. But here is the truth I discovered later. Fear was not the wall. It was only the shadow of the wall. Once I stepped closer, the shadow disappeared, and the wall was smaller than I thought. Maybe you feel the same. You want to take action, but fear freezes you. You want to grow, but fear whispers, "You are not ready." Let me give you a retention spike right here. Fear is not a sign to stop. Fear is a sign you are standing at the door of growth. Every time you feel fear, it means you are near something important, something that will stretch you, something that will change you. Think about this. Everyone you admire has felt fear. Great leaders, great thinkers, great creators, they were not fearless. They were simply brave enough to act despite the fear. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is walking forward while fear walks beside you. Your best self will never be born in safety. It is born in those moments when your hands shake, your heart races, but you take the step anyway. I remember my first time speaking in front of people. My voice trembled, my palms were sweaty, and my mind was full of fear. But I did it. And when I finished, I realized something powerful. Fear did not kill me. In fact, it made the victory sweeter. That day taught me that fear is smaller on the other side of action. So how do you face fear? First, name it. Say it clearly. I am afraid of failing. I am afraid of rejection. I am afraid of looking foolish. Naming fear takes away its mystery. Second, question it. Ask yourself, is this fear telling me the truth or just protecting me from growth? Most fears are not real threats. They are imagined dangers. Third, step into it. Even a small step weakens fear's power, and every step makes you stronger. Another truth is this: fear often disguises itself as comfort. You say, I am not afraid, I just don't feel like doing it. But deep down, it is fear that keeps you from moving. Recognize this disguise, and you will catch fear before it traps you. Here is something I want you to remember. Fear is part of being human. You cannot erase it completely, but you can learn to dance with it. You can learn to walk with it without letting it drive your life. And every time you do, you grow closer to your best self. Let me share another retention spike with you. Fear is the guard standing at the gates of your best self. The only way in is to walk past it. That truth changed how I saw my own fears. They were no longer enemies. They were signs that I was moving toward something bigger. So today, ask yourself, what fear is holding me back? And then, take one step into it. Write that message. Speak that word. Start that project. Whatever it is, move toward it. You will see that fear shrinks when faced, but grows when avoided. Your best self is waiting on the other side of fear, and the step you take through it may be the step that changes everything. Let me end this chapter with this truth. Do not wait to be fearless. Move forward, even afraid. That is how your best self is born. Chapter 11. On the journey to becoming your best self, there will come a moment when you realize something important. You cannot control everything. You cannot control the weather, the opinions of others, or every twist of fate that life brings. But you can always control how you respond. And this ability, to manage your emotions and reactions, is what gives you real power. Because your best self is not just about doing more. It is also about being wiser with your emotions. I used to let my emotions control me. If someone criticized me, I carried that pain for days. If something went wrong, I gave up hope too quickly. My happiness depended on outside events. If the day was good, I felt strong. If the day was bad, I felt weak. Living this way is like being a leaf in the wind. You are always at the mercy of whatever blows your way. But slowly, I learned the truth. The best self is not a leaf. The best self is the tree. Deep roots, strong trunk. No matter how hard the wind blows, the tree stands firm. Maybe you have felt this too. Maybe you find yourself angry too quickly, or sad too often, or worried all the time. And you think, this is just who I am. But let me tell you, it is not fixed. You can grow emotional strength. You can train your heart just as you train your body. You can learn to pause, to breathe, to choose your response instead of being a prisoner of your first reaction. Here is your retention spike. Emotional control is not about suppressing feelings. It is about mastering them. This is a key difference. Suppressing feelings means pretending you are not angry, not sad, not afraid. But those emotions will only grow louder if ignored. Mastering them means feeling them, understanding them, but not letting them rule you. Anger can pass through you without burning your life. Sadness can move in you without drowning your hope. Fear can whisper without silencing your courage. I remember one evening when I faced a painful disappointment. Something I worked hard for did not happen. The old me would have cried, blamed life, and quit. But that day, I tried something different. I sat in silence. I let myself feel the pain. I breathed deeply and asked, what can I learn from this? How can I grow? Slowly, I felt a shift. The pain was still there, but it no longer owned me. I was the master, not the prisoner. That was the day I learned emotional strength. Another truth is that emotions are messages, not commands. Anger tells you something feels unfair. Fear tells you something feels unsafe. Sadness tells you something matters deeply to you. But these messages are not orders. You do not need to obey them blindly. You can listen, learn, and then choose how to respond. That choice is the mark of your best self. Think about this. A candle can be blown out by a small wind, but a fire that is protected grows stronger. Your emotions are like that fire. If you let every wind control them, they go out quickly. But if you protect them with awareness and wisdom, they give you light and warmth, no matter the storm. One way to grow emotional strength is through reflection. At the end of each day, ask yourself, when did I lose control today? When did I stay strong? What can I do better tomorrow? These small reflections add up. Over time, you notice patterns, you learn your triggers, and slowly, you build mastery. Your best self is not someone without feelings. It is someone who feels deeply, but chooses wisely. It is someone who can cry but still continue, who can be afraid but still act, who can be angry but still remain kind. That balance is not weakness, it is real strength. Let me close this chapter with a line to carry with you. You do not need to control the world to be strong. You only need to control yourself. And when you do, the world cannot break you. Chapter 12. On this journey you will realize something powerful. Becoming your best self is not only about what you achieve, but also about how you treat yourself along the way. Too often we are our own harshest critics. We forgive others, but we do not forgive ourselves. We cheer for others, but we stay silent for ourselves. And slowly, without even noticing, we become our own enemy. But your best self cannot grow in self-hatred. It needs kindness. It needs compassion. It needs you to become your own friend. I used to speak to myself in cruel ways. Whenever I made a mistake, I would say, "You are useless. You always fail. You will never change." I thought being hard on myself would push me to do better. But it only made me weaker. It killed my confidence. It made me afraid to try. Then one day, I asked myself a simple question. Would I speak to a friend the way I speak to myself? The answer was no. If a friend failed, I would encourage them. If they were sad, I would comfort them. So why could I not do the same for myself? That day I began to learn the art of self-compassion. Maybe you are like me. Maybe you carry words in your head that cut you down instead of lifting you up. But let me tell you this. Your best self will never come alive if you keep stabbing your heart with cruel words. You do not need to be your own enemy. You can be your greatest ally. And when you treat yourself with kindness, you do not become weak. You actually become stronger. Because you no longer waste energy fighting yourself. Here is your retention spike. Self-love is not arrogance. It is survival. Without it, you cannot grow. With it, you can face any challenge. Because even if the world doubts you, your own heart will remind you, "I believe in me." That inner voice can carry you through storms. But how do you practice self-compassion? First, notice your self-talk. Catch yourself when you say harsh things. Replace them with gentler ones. Instead of, "I always fail," say, "I am learning." Instead of, "I am weak," say, "I am growing stronger." Words are powerful. They shape identity. Speak words that give life, not death. Second, allow yourself to rest. Many people think becoming your best self means never stopping, always working. But even the strongest trees need seasons of rest to grow. Rest is not laziness. Rest is renewal. Your best self is not found in burning out. It is found in balance. Third, forgive yourself. You will make mistakes. You will take wrong turns. But that is part of being human. Forgiveness does not mean ignoring mistakes, it means learning and letting go. Imagine carrying a heavy bag of stones everywhere you go. That is what holding on to guilt feels like. Forgiveness is dropping the stones so you can walk free. I remember one night when I looked at all the mistakes I had made. I felt crushed under the weight of regret. But then I whispered to myself, I forgive you. You were learning. You are still learning. Tears fell, but my heart felt lighter. That was the moment I realized that my best self did not need a perfect past. It only needed a hopeful future. Another truth is that self-compassion is not selfish. When you are kind to yourself, you become more capable of being kind to others. When you heal your own wounds, you have more strength to help others heal. Love for yourself and love for others are not enemies. They are twins. They grow together.